नमः सर्वेभ्यः। व्योम-संस्कृत-पाठशालायाः रघुवंश ग्रन्थावगाहनं 12 सर्गः इत्यस्मिन् प्रक्रमे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। अद्य अस्य प्रक्रमस्य पञ्चमः पाठः। अद्य वयं श्लोकेषु काव्यांशाः के भवन्ति, कथं भवन्ति इति किञ्चित् अवलोकयामः। गुरुरेव गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो वागर्थाविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ वन्दामहे महोद्दण्डदोर्दण्डौ रघुनन्दनौ तेजो निर्जितमार्तण्डमण्डलौ लोकनन्दनौ। अस्माभिः कस्यचित् श्लोकस्य अध्ययनं समग्रम् अध्ययनं कथं क्रियते पारंपरिकक्रमेण इति अधीयमानम् अस्ति. We are trying to understand how a shloka can be studied comprehensively in the traditional method. Right? So first we do padacheda, split the words and the samasta padas into their components. Then we do vakya vishleshanam, where we analyze the sentence to separate kriya padas, nama padas, or subantas, tingantas, and avyayas, and just identify the vibhakti to be able to correlate them to each other. Then we follow the krama of akanksha, asking questions around the kriya pada to understand how each word is related to the other and understand the pratipadartha, meaning of each word. Then we put together the words of the shloka in anvaya and give the bhavartha or tatparyartha, meaning of the shloka in our own words, either in Sanskrita or in English or any language you can use it. Then going one step further, we try to analyze the grammatical and poetic aspects of the shloka. So there we saw the grammatical derivation of words at 2 levels. Today we will look at some of the poetic aspects. And finally, there are some visheshamshaha, special notes on the shloka, which usually we get from commentaries on the shloka. Evam eteshu sopaneshu yadi shlokasya adhyanam kriyate mahan samayaha tu bhavati. In this way, you can actually spend more than 1 hour, 1 full hour on a single shloka. It will take 1.5 to 2 hours if we are doing everything in full detail. As I said, the most important thing is don't target to do everything together. That is not the purpose. This is just to say all this can be done. Starting now when we are actually studying our first Mahakavya, by God's grace, as we continue through the other Mahakavyas, at every step we will try to go a little deeper, a little deeper. Okay. Idanim gata paryaye vyakaranamshaha ye adhitaha atyantam sankshepeena punaravartanam kurmaha Samskrite padaprapanchaha yani yani padani santi tani sarvani dvividhani bhavanti. Subantam yatra moolam bhavati pratipadikam tasmat pratipadikat supratyayaha yojyante. So in Subantas, we have a root word or a shabda, which is technically termed pratipadikam. Whenever we hear any shabda, Rama shabdaha, Rama shabdaha, Nadi shabdaha, what we are calling as the shabda is actually the pratipadika, to which we add 21 pratyayas to derive that table of shabda rupas or vibhakti rupas. It is these forms that we use in an actual sentence. Even avyayas technically are subantas, which means there is a pratipadika and supratyayas, but the supratyayas get deleted because it is an avyaya, and therefore we hear a single form which is most usually the same form or as Pratipadika. Sometimes there may be some slight difference. Then we have the other kind of word, which is the Tinganta Padam, where the root word is called Dhatu. To that we add a different set of pratyayas called the Ting pratyayas. Evam subantani tingantani padani bhavanti. Atra pratipadikam athava dhatuhu, the root word, when we take a closer look at the root word of the subanta or the tinganta, we find that there is a process called vritti, which generates these pratipadikas and dhatus. It is not that there is a set or a limited list of pratipadikas and dhatus. There is no list of pratipadikas. Honestly, the number of pratipadikas is too huge, and most of them are derived using vritti. Dhatus, we do have a starting list of about 2000 dhatus, but we can create newer dhatus. So a process which generates newer nominal or verbal roots, that is pratipadikas or dhatus, is called vritti. And there are 5 kinds of vrittis. Vrittihi panchadha bhavati. 4 of them help in creating new pratipadikas. Krit pratyayaha, addition of krit pratyaya to a dhatu. Tadhita pratyayaha, addition of tadhita pratyayas to pratipadikas. Samasa, combining two different subantas. Ekashesha, combining two subantas and dropping one of them. So all these 4 vrittis help us create new pratipadikas. Dhatoh nirmane eka eva vrittihi bhavati sanadyanta dhatu vrittihi. There is a set of 12 pratyayas called sanadi pratyayas, which help us generate newer dhatus. So whenever we study the words of a shloka, in level 1, we study the pada, which is the subanta tinganta. For subantas, anta linga vachana vibhakti. For tingantas, lakara pada purusha vachana. Then in the second level of analyzing the word, we try to get into the vrittis to see how the pratipadika was created and how the dhatu was created. And this is not a simple or a single step. As we saw many times, there are multiple steps involved. So especially at the basic level, we will not be studying the entire vritti. The most important ones we will see for this course. So there are a couple of questions here and those who asked. There are so many different pratyayas. Is there a way in which we could have a class on pratyayas? One class will not suffice for the pratyayas. That is the problem. See, there are 120 krit pratyayas, more than 500 tadhitas, 12 sanada. Each of these is honestly a separate course. As we said, we have done a Kridanta course, 35 classes, where I covered only about 15 very common krit pratyayas. Okay. Similarly, tadhitas is one section, sanadyantas is one section, and so on. So the purpose of this now is just to let you know that these pratyayas are there. You need not worry about them. Okay, it is, you will not be able to identify all the krit pratyayas and tadhita pratyayas at this level, which is perfectly okay. As we study, first initially I will try to introduce some of the common krit pratyayas, common tadhita pratyayas. As we go on, we will learn. So atra yatra yatha yatha adhyanam kurmaha tatha prithag vargaha api bhavanti. We will have maybe one session on tadhitas. If you are following in the Chittur Krama, when we were doing the Samskrita Bodhini, there would be one day a special class on some common tadhita pratyayas, some common krit pratyayas. So that is how gradually you will pick it up. So do not worry about the particulars of any pratyaya as of now. Okay, so it is just the beginning of a journey into the language. Each of these So samasas we will study in detail in level 3. Ekashesha we will study in detail. We will study kridantas, tadhitantas, everything will come. Okay. So now whenever you see krit pratyaya, you can just file it away saying, okay, there is some pratyaya added to a dhatu and I am getting a pratipadika. If that much is clear, it is more than enough at this stage. Okay, so for everything, we will have detailed sessions later. इदानीं तत्र अस्माकं श्लोकः वागर्थाविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये इत्यत्र we will just see the two levels, right? So one is this avyaya, subanta, tinganta we have already identified in level 2 called Vakya Vishleshana. Now the first level of grammar is pada parichaya. For avyaya, there is nothing. For subantas, right? So samprikta is akaranta pullinga dvitiya dvivachana. Vagartha pratipattaye. Pratipatti is the shabda, pratipadikam. Ikaranta strilinga chaturthi ekavachana. Jagataha is takaranta napumsakalinga shashti ekavachana. Pitarau Rakaranta pullinga dvitiya dvivachana. Parvati Parameshwarau Akaranta pullinga dvitiya dvivachana. So this is the first level, and we have only one tinganta vande, which is vandadhatuhu latlakaraha atmane padarupam uttama purushaha ekavachanam. So next, when we try to understand the vrittis, vritti can be there for avyayas, for subantas, for any word you can have a vritti. So when we look at vagartha viva, it is a samasa. Samasa vritti. Vakcha arthascha vagarthau is a dvandva samasa. Vagarthau iva is a kevala samasa. So there are double samasa which is done to generate this pratipadika called vagartha viva. Samprikta is an akaranta shabda. It is generated by a krit vritti. There is a krit pratyaya called kta, a very popular pratyaya, right? So gataha, agataha, suptaha, etc. So kta is a bhutakala. It means done. And there is a dhatu. Whenever there is a krit vritti, there should be a dhatu. Sam is the upasarga, prich is the dhatu, and kta is the pratyaya. So this is a krit vritti. Vagartha pratipattaye is again a samasa. Vakcha arthascha vagarthau vagarthayoho pratipattihi, attainment of word and meaning. This is a samasa called shashti tatpurusha. Jagataha. So you look at jagat. It's interesting. This is also a krit vritti. It is derived from gam dhatu and kvip is a pratyaya. It's a very, getting into the details of these words is very interesting because, see, jagat means that which is constantly moving. If you look at modern science, we say it's a modern invention. The understanding that the universe, the entire universe is constantly moving or expanding is a modern concept, because there was earlier the impression that the earth is fixed, everything else moves. But if we look at jagat, jagat means the entire universe, entire creation is derived from movement. There is nothing without movement. So it's such an interesting thing how much of inherent knowledge is there within every word we understand when we get into such details. Pitarau, as we saw, is a ekasheshaha, matacha, pitacha, pitarau. Vande doesn't have a vritti because vand is one of the 2000 original dhatus. It is not a generated dhatu. Parvati Parameshwarau. It's again a samasa. Paramaha Ishwaraha Parameshwaraha, the Supreme Master. Parvati cha Parameshwarascha, Parvati Parameshwarau is a Dvandva Samasa. Paramaha Ishvaraha is Karmadharaya. Parvati cha Parameshwarascha is Dvandva. So this is some amount of vritti. Okay. Now, moving on. So there are some more questions regarding that. What is Kevala Samasa? Can we have a lesson on Samasa? Again, one lesson is nowhere near for Samasa. We have separate course itself on basics of Samasas. We will also study in a different level of Chittur exams. I will share some of the links if you want. The course on Kradantas, a course on Samasas. But for now, just try to familiarize yourself with the various Samasas. Okay. Now coming to the poetic aspects, what are the Kavyamshas? We are only sunk in Vyakarana, and usually I tend to focus more on Vyakarana because I like Vyakarana a lot. But when we are studying a Kavya specifically, we also need to look at the poetic aspects of any text. So there are four major things when we look at Kavya Lakshanam. At the level of the entire text, if we are studying a Mahakavya, we can study what is a Mahakavya. What are the various characteristics? If we study, say, a Nataka, a drama, what is a Nataka? How should it be constructed? So there are texts which give the Lakshana, characteristics of each kind of Kavya. So when we are studying a Mahakavya, it is possible to study the Lakshanas of the Kavya. That is not shloka by shloka. The Lakshana applies to the entire Kavya. Then there is the chandas or the vrittam. So we had an introduction to what is chandas, the arrangement of syllables. Usually, especially in Mahakavyas, the entire sarga happens to be in a similar chandas. In all Mahakavyas, only at the end of the sarga, the poets will usually change the vritta. So usually at the sarga level, what is the common chandas for the sarga we can study? If it is mixed chandas portion, then for each shloka, we will have to look at the chandas or the vritta. There are some texts like say, Niti Shatakam yadi asti, प्रत्येकं श्लोकः भिन्ने वृत्ते भवति तदा तु सर्वेषां श्लोकानां कृते किं वृत्तम् इति अध्ययनं कर्तव्यं भवति अलङ्काराः सो अद्य वयं पश्यामः अलङ्कारः नाम कः इति प्रत्येकं श्लोक स्तरे एव ज्ञातव्यं we can study alankaras only at the shloka in that particular shloka what is the special expression way of expression that a poet has used. Then there are further aspects called guna, dosha, etc. Deeper analysis of the kavya and the shlokas. Okay, they also talk about say rasa, etc. All those are advanced aspects of kavya, which we can do only after studying Sahitya Shastra. Sahitya Shastra is a Shastra which deals with the types of kavyas, their merits, demerits, etc. So after that, you can analyze. So now at this course, we are not getting into the Kavya Lakshana or the Guna Doshadayah. Yadyapi Mahakavya Lakshanam Pathitum Shakyate, Anyatra Maya Patitamapi Asti. Idanim tu Vayam Mahakavya Lakshanam na Patamaha, Agre Kadachit. Mahakavya Lakshanam Vayam Pathitum Shaknumaha. Gunadoshadayah api asmin stare naiva shakyante. Tatra Sahitya Shastrasya Adhyanam apekshate. Kintu Vrittanam Vishaye, Alankaranam Vishaye, Vayam Kinchid Gnatum Prayatnam Kurumaha. Tatra Chandaha Athava Vrittam especially we saw there are two types. One is the arrangement of syllables called varna chandaha or vrittam. The other is arrangement of matras, which is called jati. Here in this sarga, he uses only varna chandas. That too, among the 104 shlokas of Dvadasha Sarga, 101 shlokas are in Anushtubh Vritta. One from the first shloka till the 101. Everything is Anushtubh. Last 3 verses, he changes the Vritta. So 102 is in a Vritta called Malini, 103 is in Vasanta Tilaka, and 104 is in Naracham. So what we will do is Adyavayam Anushtubh Vrittasya Lakshanam Janimaha. Etesham Trayanam Vrittanam Vishaye Yada Tatra Prapnumaha Tada Patishyamaha. Because even if I give now, it will be quite some time by the time we reach there. So these we will study when we reach that particular shloka. For now, we will try to understand what is Anushtubh. There is some basic knowledge which is required to understand chandas. It is called the concept of aksharam or syllable. It is not a varna. Varna is an individual letter. Say if I say Rama, there is Repha, there is Akara, there is Makara, Akara. There are 4 varnas or letters in Rama, but there are only 2 syllables. So an aksharam or syllable refers to the combination of vyanjana and swara. We usually call it a gunitaksharam, etc. So a vyanjanam and swara forms the syllable for chandas. Whenever we are talking about vritta or chandas, it is not about individual varnas, it is about the syllables. For example, there is a line. Tatassa madhyangatamam shumantam. What is a syllable here? What is a syllable split if we look at it? Ta, taha, sa, ma, thya, nga, ta, mam, shu, ma, ntam. There are 11 syllables in this line. Very easy, don't worry. So any syllable ends with a swara. That is the first rule. So if you find a swara, you stop there. Ta, sa, ma, thya, nga, everything is ending with a swara. Shu, you find a swara, you stop there. Vyanjanas which come after the swara are taken to the next syllable. Say you have ma, then you have dh and ya. Dh looks like it is in between. Should we go here or there? You take it to the next syllable. Okay. But Anuswara and Visarga, they are called ayogavahas. They are taken with the previous syllable. So you have a with ha. So aha, taha is 1 syllable. Mam is 1 syllable. Okay. At the end of the pada, if you have a single vyanjana, it does not have any swara coming after, then you take it with the previous syllable. Only vyanjana cannot make a syllable. A syllable always requires a swara, a vowel. So any vowel and the vyanjanas which come before that vowel, that is actually a syllable. So Anuswara and Visarga, they tend to go along with the swara. That is how we also study, right? Kam, kaha. So we take it together. That is the basic understanding of syllables for the purpose of chandas. Please remember, there may be other aspects which I am not getting into in this case. So we have 11 syllables. When we split this line, we get 11 syllables. Right? Kim kim asti ekam aksharam ityukte vyanjanam swaraha. Swarasahitam vyanjanam athava gunitaksharam eva aksharam. Yatha ityukte kim tata titi tutu tr tetai totau tam taha. Etani sarvani aksharani. So ta iti ekam aksharam. तः विसर्ग सहितम एकम अक्षरम स म ध्य यत्र बहूनि व्यञ्जनानि सन्ति तत्सर्वं मिलित्वा अग्रिम स्वरेण सह ध य अ त्रयमपि मिलित्वा एकम् अक्षरं भवति। एवमेव ङ ग अ एवं क्रमेण तत्र तस्मिन् वाक्ये कति अक्षराणि भवन्ति इति अस्माभिः द्रष्टव्यम्। अस्मिन् वाक्ये 11 अक्षराणि सन्ति। इदानीं यदा अक्षराणि ज्ञातानि तत्र छन्दशास्त्रे लघु गुरु व्यवस्था इति अस्ति। छन्दशास्त्र is one of the earliest instances of binary system. There is lot of research. There's a very famous scholar called Manjul Bhargav, a mathematician who has done a lot of research into how the binary, that is, there is only 0 and 1, two values. So similarly, Chandas Shastra has only 2 values for each syllable, laghu or guru. Tattu jnatavyam bhavati. Laghu ityukte kim, guru ityukte kim. Laghu is any syllable with hrasva swara. This is a default definition. Tadanantaram drashtavyam hrasva swara yuktam aksharam laghu ityuchyate. In Chandas Shastra, we use a symbol. There are 2 sets of symbols for laghu guru. In one case, laghu is represented by U. In the other case, it is represented by a vertical line. Both these represent the laghu. So a syllable with hrasva swara is called laghu. Guru ityukte kim. Again, guru is represented by a horizontal line. So U and horizontal line is one set, or vertical line and S is another set. So if you look at some books, they use U and dash. Other books use line and S. Okay, you have to understand what convention the book is following. Now, guru ityasya bahavaha amshaha santi. Dirghaswara-yuktam aksharam guru bhavati. That is the simplest. If there is a dirghaswara, a, I, u, r, e, o, I, au, ashtau dirgha swaraha, tadyuktam aksharam guru bhavati. Hrasva-swaraha asti chedapi agre samyuktaksharam asti chet. Any hrasva swara, that is a syllable with hrasva swara, followed by a sanyuktakshara, will also be treated as guru. That is, if you have, say, ashva, a is a hrasva swara, but after a we have sh, v, sanyoga. Sanyuktakshara means 2 consonants, minimum of 2 consonants, combination of consonants. Vyanjana samudayah sanyuktaksharam ityuchyate. Agre samyuktaksharam asti chet tadapi guru bhavati. So if the syllable contains anuswara or visarga, then also it is treated as guru. And again, a syllable where there is a single vyanjana at the end of the pada is joined to the previous syllable, that is also a guru. Okay. Dirghaswaraha asti ched guru bhavati. Hrasvaswaraha asti chedapi agre vyanjanam sanyuktaksharaha anuswaraha visargova asti ched tadapi guru bhavati. If it is none of these, then only it is a laghu. Right? So laghu, guru, jnanam. There is the 5th one which is not applicable here. You can study that later. Idanim ekam udaharanam pashyamaha. Bahu prasiddham Ganesha Pancharatna stotram asti. Mudakaratta modakam iti. Tatra ekam वस्तुतः पादस्य अर्धम् अस्ति न ते तराति भीकरन्न वोदितार्कभास्वरम् तत्र न ते तराति भीकरम् अत्र न इति ह्रस्वस्वरः अतः लघु ते इति दीर्घस्वरः अस्ति अतः गुरु त इति लघु रा दीर्घस्वरः गुरु ति ह्रस्वस्वरः लघु भी दीर्घस्वरः गुरु क ह्रस्वस्वरः लघु ram a is a hrasva but it has an anuswara. Anywhere if you have anuswara or visarga it is a guru. So if you look laghu guru, that is what makes the meter very attractive, and it is one of the easiest ones where you can practice your understanding of laghu guru. The entire stotra, if you know mudakaratta modakam, all lines you will have the same pattern. Laghu guru, laghu guru, laghu guru, laghu guru. So you can go on marking and check how even if the swara is hrasva, it may be getting converted to a guru because of the following letters. Idanim atra pashyamaha tatassa madhyangatam amshumantam. We identified 11 syllables. Always in the initial stages of practicing chandas, you should make a point of identifying the samyuktaksharas because it matters. Say dh y iti samyuktaksharam, ng g iti samyuktaksharam, n t. In the end, as I said, nta, the remaining vyanjana will join the same syllable because there is no swara coming ahead. Makaraha api anenaiva aksharena saha antarbhavati. Tatra yatra samyuktaksharam asti purvatanam aksharam guru bhavati. Most people make a mistake here. That syllable is not guru. The one before that is guru. Dhya iti sanyuktaksharam asti chet tataha purvam vidyamana ma iti guru bhavati. Nga iti samyuktakshara asti chet, the syllable before the samyuktakshara is a guru. Similarly, nt is a samyuktakshara. The syllable before that is a guru. The definition of guru is a hrasva swara followed by a sanyoga. So, ma, thya, this ma. These three are labeled guru because of the following samyuktakshara, right? And also the other rule said wherever there is anuswara or visarga. So taha is visarga, mam is anuswara. They are also guru. And at the end, if it is followed by a single vyanjana at the end, that is also a guru. Always identify the gurus first, then the remaining will be laghus. Okay. So sanyuktaksharam asti chet, let's go back from the beginning. Yatra sanyuktaksharam asti tataha purvam vidyamanam aksharam guru bhavati. Dhya iti samyuktaksharam tataha purvam yadasti ma iti guru bhavati. So, nga iti sanyuktaksharam tataha purvam vidyamanam guru. So, atra sarvatra guru agatam. Yatra visargaha asti tatra guru bhavati. Anuswaraha asti chet guru bhavati. Ante ekameva vyanjanam asti chet. Tat, any syllable ending in that consonant will also be guru. एवञ्च अत्र एतानि सर्वाणि अक्षराणि गुरुवर्णानि सन्ति. The remaining ones are लघु. से त, स, ग, त, शु ह्रस्वस्वराः सन्ति. अतः सर्वत्र लघु वर्णाः सन्ति. So identifying laghu guru is the key to understanding the vritta. What about a Sanyuktakshara by itself? Is there Laghu Guru? Please understand, Laghu Guru is always only for the syllable together, not for individual letter. So, Dhya is a syllable which contains Sanyuktakshara. The previous one becomes a Guru. But is Dhya itself Guru or Laghu? It depends. This A is followed by Sanyuktakshara. So Dhya is Guru. But this Nga is a Hrasvaswara, which is not followed by Anuswara, Visarga or Sanyuktakshara. So it will still be Laghu. Even though there is a Sanyuktakshara, you can determine Laghu Guru only by looking at what comes next. Okay. So now, once we understand Laghu Guru, Anushtubh iti tu atyantam prasiddham vrittam. It is one of the most common vrittas we find in Sanskrita. The entire Ramayana, with few exceptions. There are other vrittas, but 95% of the verses of Ramayana. Similarly, the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, all the Puranas, wherever you go, we will find Anushtubh Vritta. Tatra kimasti 8 syllables per pada. Shlokaha ityukte chatvaraha padaha bhavanti. Pratipadam ashta aksharani bhavanti. And the rule for Anushtubh says, in every pada, pratipadam, 5th syllable should be laghu. Panchamam aksharam laghu bhavet. Shashtham aksharam guru bhavet. 7th syllable in even padas, that is 2nd and 4th pada, should be laghu. Anushtubh is a vritta which does not specify every syllable. There are some definitions in which every syllable is defined as laghu guru. Anushtubh vritte etavantaha eva niyamaha bhavanti. So there are other varieties. In the common variety, what we call as Anushtubh vritta, Panchamam laghu, Shashtham guru, Dvitiya pade, Chaturtha pade, Saptamam laghu. That is the rule. Udaharanam pashyamaha, Vagartha viva sampraktau, Vagartha pratipattaye, Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau. So you can see, first thing, 8 syllables in each pada. I have identified the Sanyuktaksharas in 5, 6, 7. Okay, because 5, 6, 7 is what we see in Anushtubh. 5th, 6th and 7th syllables. So there are some Sanyuktaksharas. Now what does our rule say? Panchamam laghu. So va iti laghu hrasvaswaraha. Ti iti hrasvaswaraha laghu. Ta iti hrasvaswaraha laghu. Ra iti hrasvaswaraha laghu. So panchamam laghu is fitting. Then shashtham guru. The 6th syllable should be guru. So if you look at sa, it is hrasva but followed by sanyuktakshara. Right? So okay, so 6th one is guru. Similarly, in pa, pattaye, ta, double takara is a sanyuktakshara. So the one preceding it is a guru. Rau is a guru because au is a dirghaswara. Me is also a dirghaswara, so it is guru. The 6th syllable is guru in all the padas. Panchamam laghu, shashtham guru. Dvichaturthayoho, in the even pada, 2nd and 4th pada, the 7th letter should be laghu. Ta is a hrasvaswara, so it is laghu. Shva is also hrasvaswara, so it is laghu. So 5th laghu, 6th guru, 7th syllable in second and fourth padas is lagu. This is the lakshana of Anushtubh, which is, as we can see, it is fitting in this shloka. And this is the vritta we have in 101 verses of Raghuvamsha. So we will move ahead. Chando vishaye ye adhyetum icchanti. If you want to learn the basics of chandas, we have a course which goes from the very basics. Laghu guru ityukte kim, tatra ganaha santi, and some very common vrittas. So if you want, it's a pre-recorded course, short videos for each chandas, you can learn. The link will be available in the slides. अग्रे गच्छामः. द्वितीयः काव्यांशः अस्ति अलङ्काराः. Alankaraha means ornament or decoration. Just like we apply, say, makeup or jewels to improve our perceived physical beauty or form, the beauty of a kavya is improved by alankara. Kavyam ityukte tatra रमणीयार्थ प्रतिपादकः शब्दः काव्यं. शब्दः भवति, अर्थः भवति. एवमेव अलङ्काराः अपि शब्दालङ्काराः भवन्ति, अर्थालङ्काराः भवन्ति. यत्र शब्दसौन्दर्यं वर्धते. How does शब्दसौन्दर्य improve? Repetition of letters or words. Okay, just like I said, the same shloka, Nitanta-kanta danta-kanti manta-kanta-katmajam achintya rupamantahina mantaraya krintanam. So he goes on repeating that nta, nta, nta. So repetition of syllables makes the shabda, the sound, very attractive. You may not understand a single word of this. I'm sure, especially in this stotra, it's a very long samastapada. Nobody understands the meaning overall unless you have actually studied. But it is a very attractive stotra because extensive shabdalankara. Every shloka has repetition of syllables. Then sometimes words themselves are repeated. Sharada, Sharadam, Bhoja, Vadana, Vadanam, Bhuje, Sarvada, Sarvada, Smakam, Sannidhim, Sannidhim, Kriyat. Every pada, the same word is repeated. Sharada, Sharada, Vadana, Vadana, etc. So such repetition of letters or words where we are not looking into meaning, just the words themselves are very beautiful, is called a shabdalankara. There are multiple types, so we are not getting into types. Generally, you can feel it intuitively when you chant the shloka. The repetition will be some kind of a shabdalankara. More importantly, there are arthalankaraha, in the way the word is expressed based on the meaning. Right. The alankaras which are special expressions based on meaning are called arthalankaraha. Artham ashritya ete alankaraha bhavanti. Yatha Angla bhashayam api santi. There are very few, like we call simile, metaphor, pun, exaggeration, etc. Samskrita bhashayam tu shatadhikaha arthalankaraha santi, tesham lakshanani santi. Kuvalayanandam iti grantha appayya dikshitaihi virachitaha. Tatra shatadhikanam arthalankaranam lakshanani varnyante. Katham bhavati, what, how do you express it? Okay. The basic of all arthalankaras is upama. Anye alankaraha santi. Vayam prati shlokam yada gacchamaha tatra ye prasiddhaha alankaraha tesham vishaye pashyamaha. Kintu sarvesham alankaranam moolam bhavati upama iti alankaraha. Upama is sadrishyam, similarity, what we call simile in English. That is at the basis of a majority of alankaras, right? So That is called kavi drishti. A poet is able to imagine some kind of expression, a comparison, which we don't. Okay, that is called upama. Upama means a similarity. There are 4 components to upama. Upama Alankarasya chatvari avayavani santi. Upameyaha is the current object which is being described. Say, I am a poet. I want to describe Rama. Rama is upameya. If I want to describe some other, say, a current king who is like Rama, then the current king will be upameya. What I want to describe now is upameyaha. Whereas the object to which we compare is called upamanam. Right? For example, in Ramayana, at the beginning, Maharshi Valmiki gives a lot of upamanas to Rama. Vishnuna sadrisho virye kshamaya prithvi samaha dhanadena samastyage satye dharma ivaparaha. So he says Rama is like Vishnu in his valor. He is like Bhumi, the earth, in his patience. He is like Kubera in giving. He is like Dharma, that is Yamadharma Raja, in truth. So in all these cases, he is describing Rama. So Rama is Upameya. To whom is Rama being compared? Vishnu, Bhumi, Kubera, Yama, they are all called Upamana. But today, if I want to say this person is Sakshat Sri Ramachandra, he is very truthful. In that case, Rama would be the Upamana and the person whom I am describing is the Upameya. Very important. So Upameya is the current object of description. Upamana is to which we are comparing the Upameya. Now, whenever there is a comparison, there is an attribute of comparison. What is the basis of comparison? We will see. So that is called sadharana dharma. Between upameya and upamana, there is some common attribute which we use for comparison. If they are totally different, you cannot compare. There should be something common. That common factor is called sadharana dharma. And there is a word which indicates that you are comparing. Like, as, so. So, iva, yatha, vat. Any word which indicates the comparison is called upama vachakaha shabdaha. Upameyaha, upamanam, sadharana dharmaha, upama vachaka shabdaha. These are the 4 components of upama Alankara. Very quickly, if we look, Purna Chandra Nibhananaha, a very popular comparison used by poets. So with a face resembling the full moon. Now here, what is being described? The face or ananam. That is the upameyaha. The poet wants to describe the face of somebody. What is he comparing the face to? Is the Purna Chandraha. The full moon is the upamanam. And what is the common factor? Is Saundaryam and Kantihi. That is the beauty and radiance. That is the common factor. In any upama, it is possible to make it look ridiculous. Okay, like even this here. Say Chandra, the moment you think of Chandra, you think of the Kalanka, that it is full of craters which appear as, the dark marks. That is not the common factor for this comparison. You are not saying that the face has many, dark spots. Or a Purna Chandra, a full moon, means from the next day it will start to diminish. It will reduce because it is Krishna Paksha. Those are not the sadharana dharma when the Kavi is making a comparison. We should always understand what is the basis. So the Chandra is very beautiful, very pleasant, and very radiant. So that beauty and radiance is the sadharana dharma. which may sometimes not be explicitly told. So when I say face resembling the full moon, the poet is not telling how, in what manner, but it is most of the times obvious. Right. Then nibha. Nibha means like or resembling. So that is the upama vachakaha shabdaha. So when it is ridiculous, how do you determine which dharma to choose? It determines on what we call the vivaksha. That is why there is a term in Kavya called sahridaya. Sahridaya means a person who can put himself into the heart of the poet. What did the poet want to convey? If you can appreciate it, you are a sahridaya. If you bring up ridiculous things which don't fit the context, then you are not a sahridaya. You cannot appreciate the shloka. That is when we are reading kalankaras done by somebody else. If I want to use, it is up to me to choose. If I want to say it is like the Chandra because it is filled with craters, you can tell. But will people be able to understand it is something to be thought about. Nibha means sadrisha, similar to or like. So this is an example of upama, and Kalidasa specifically is known for his upama Alankara. Upama Kalidasasya. Almost every verse you will find a beautiful upama Alankara. Atra prathamam vagartha viva sampraktau parvati parameshwarau. Atraiva upama Alankara asti. What is he describing here? He is describing Parvati Parameshwarau. So they are the upameya. And he is comparing them to vagarthau, word and meaning. So vagarthau is the upamana, Parvati Parameshwarau is the upameya. And what is the sadharana dharma? What is common is sampriktatvam, the fact that they are eternally united. So the attribute of being united is the sadharana dharma. And iva here, vagartha viva, iva expresses that he is giving a comparison. So this is a very, very well known and very simple upama Alankara, which anybody can appreciate. There are many, many upamas. When we study the Raghuvamsha, almost in every shloka, we will find an upama. One of the most beautiful upamas is called Deepashikha. Kalidasa is given a title called Deepashikha Kalidasaha. Kimartham iti chet eka atyantam prasiddhaha upamalankarah tena upayuktah asti. Asyaiva Raghuvamshasya shashthe sarge Indumati Swayamvaraha iti sargaha. It is the Swayamvara of Indumati, a princess, where Aja, Dasharatha's father, he is one of the princess who is waiting. She goes to choose her husband. So there the shloka is there. Sancharini deepa shikhe varatrau yam yam vyatiyaya patim varasa narendra margatta iva prapede vivarna bhavam sasabhumi palaha. He is giving, what he is describing is two here. There are two upameyas. One is Sa refers to Indumati and Bhumi Palaha refers to king. You should imagine Tatra Swayamvara Mandapam asti, Tatra Sarve Rajanaha Tatra Agatya Upavishanti. Indumati Swayamvara Malikam Dhritva Tatra Agachati. Tasyaha Sakhi api asti Sunanda iti. Sa Kathayati Ekaikasya Rajnyaha Vishaye Eshaha Asya Deshasya Raja Atyuttamaha Parakrami Ityadi Tasya Gunan Varnayati. Tachrutva Indumati Agre Gachati. So she is listening to the description of each king and then she doesn't like, she moves ahead. So there is a series of kings and Indumati is moving ahead one by one after each king. Now Kalidasa compares this to Sancharini Deepashikha. Indumati was like a moving lantern or, the Deepa Shikha. In those days, you have a long stick on top of which there is a ball of cotton which is soaked in oil and which is lit. That is the source of light in darkness. No electric lamps or this. Now, at night, there is a Sancharini Deepashikha. If there is a god or somebody who is manning the streets, they carry that light in their hands and they move. What happens is, as you are moving to one house, so there is a row of houses. When that Deepashikha comes before the house, that house is fully lit up. But as it passes ahead, the house, it goes back into darkness. So similarly, this Indumati is compared to Sancharini Deepashikha. Narendra Margataha. Narendra Marga is the Rajamarga, the main road of a capital city. Atta is a house, the stories of the house. What is the Sadharana Dharma? Indumati is like that Deepashikha. So she lights up the face. The moment she comes near, every king, he is very hopeful that she will choose him, and he is fully lit up by her radiance. But when she passes ahead, he becomes very gloomy and pale. It becomes very dark. The faces become dark due to disappointment. So vivarana bhavaha is to lose that hope and it to sink back into darkness. So Iva is the upama vachaka. So she is like a moving, light. Okay, so as soon as she comes ahead, the face lights up, but as she passes him, it goes back into darkness. So that is the description given by Kalidasa, due to which many, Kavya Shastragnas have called him Deepashikha Kalidasa. Just a taste of Kalidasa's upama. We have a lot of upamas in Dvadasha Sarga also. So we will look into them. But hopefully you have understood upama ityukte evam. So where is Deepti? So the most important thing is, all these need not be explicitly mentioned. That is, that she is very radiant is not actually mentioned in the shloka. But by the description, it becomes very obvious. The best kinds of Alankara is where the Kavi does not need to explicitly state everything. You can imagine that by your own. Agre gachamaha. Antimaha amshaha yeteshu kavyamsheshu koshaha ityapi asti. It actually does not belong technically to either Vyakarana or Kavya. Kosha is a collection of words, a thesaurus or a lexicon. We have dictionaries these days. Dictionaries are usually multi-language, right? So you have, say, Samskrita, English dictionary, Samskrita, Hindi, kosha, etc. But in those days, we had collection of words within a single language, which is called a thesaurus or lexicon. There are different kinds of koshas in Samskrita. Dvishatadhikaha koshaha Samskrita bhashayam vidyante. Samanarthaka padanam koshaha bhavanti. Nanartha koshaha bhavanti. Dhatu koshaha bhavanti. Ekakshara koshaha. So there are many, many kinds of kosha in Samskrita. The most popular of them is called Amara Koshaha, composed by an author called Amara Simha. Amara Kosha, the actual name of the kosha, it is called Amara Kosha because it was written by Amara. Actual name is Nama Linganushāsanam. Nama Linga. Nama means Nama Padas. It is a collection of synonyms of Nama Padas. But not just that, it also carries gender, linga information. Amarakosha is a collection of paryaya shabdas, paryaya vachakaha, synonyms along with the gender of each word. You cannot find kriya padas, so you should not look for dhatus. It is a nama linganushwasanam. So namapadas only along with gender. And another speciality of koshas in Samskrita is they are written in the form of shlokas. Most of them. It is not an alphabetical list, which would be impossible to remember. Rather, it will be like shlokas, which you can memorize. It is possible to memorize the entire Amarakosha. Vidwans, even about 100 years ago, it was one of the preliminary requirements is to have the Amarakosha memorized so that you have the entire rich vocabulary of Samskrita readily available. But even if we don't actually memorize the entire kosha itself, just looking at some lines from the kosha. Udaharanartham tatra prathamah shlokah asti swaravyayam swarganaka tridivat tridashalayaha suraloko dyodivaudve striyam klive trivishtapam. Swar avyayam. Swarga naka tridiva tridashalayaha suralokaha. So there are 5 words here which are all pullinga shabdaha. Dyo divau dve striyam. Dyo and div. These 2 words are in strilinga. Klibe trivishtapam. Kliba means napumsakalinga. So we have 1 word in napumsakalinga. So if you look at this, there are 9 words which we get from these 2 lines, of which 1 is an avyaya, 5 words are in pullinga, 2 in strilinga, and 1 in napumsakalinga, all of which mean swarga, swargaloka. These are all synonyms of swarga. So just by looking at these 2 lines, Pankti dvayasya adharena vayam nava shabdan jnatum shaknumaha tesham linga jnanam api bhavati. Right? So if in any shloka you want to write a paryaya pada, if the kavi has used naka, you can use varga or suraloka, you can use trivishtapam. So it expands our vocabulary phenomenally. Now, in Amarakosha, the words are arranged topic-wise. So there is Svarga Varga, which deals with all the Devatas, etc. Bhu Varga, Natya Varga, Dig Varga. So each Varga or chapter is a collection of words. There is also a Varga called Nanartha Varga, where he lists words which are used in multiple senses or meanings. Samskrite nanarthaha shabdaha bhavanti. Ekasyaiva shabdasya bahavaha arthaha bhavanti. Keshu keshu artheshu tasya padasya prayogaha bhavati ityapi koshavakyat jnatum shakyate. Yatha udaharanartham atra deshe nadavisheshebdhau sindhurna saritistriyam. There is a word called sindhuhu, which is used in na. Okay. Na means pullinga. Striyam is strilinga. It is a word used in both pullinga and strilinga. When it is used in pullinga, it means it can refer to a particular country, what we call the Sindh province, Sindhu Desha. Then we have a particular river, Nada Visheshaha, the Indus or the Sindhu river is called Sindhu in Pullinga. And Sindhu also refers to ocean, Abdhihi. So there are 3 meanings to the word Sindhu when used as Pullinga. Deshe, Nada Visheshe, Abdhau, Sindhu na. In these 3 meanings, the word Sindhu is Pullinga. Sariti Striyam. And when used in Strilinga, it just means a river, not the Sindhu river itself. It just means any river can be called Sindhu. We call Sapta Sindhu, right? 7 rivers, not just Indus itself. It is 5 rivers. So the word Sindhu used in Pullinga in 3 different meanings and in Strilinga to give a different meaning. So all this is given very succinctly by a single line of the kosha. Evancha vayam kim kurmaha yatra yatra asmakam shloke padani bhavanti tesh tasya kosha vakyani api pathamaha. I don't have the time now, so I will not go into the details now, but there are a lot of benefits of studying Amarakosha. One is the expansion of vocabulary, clarity regarding the gender of words, understanding of multiple meanings of a word, special usages of the language. All this can be achieved by studying the kosha. So yada vayam Raghuvamsham pathamaha tatra tatra kosha vakyani api pathamaha. Atra vagartha viva ityasya kosha vakyani santi. So vak, there are multiple words for synonyms of vak. Okay, so they are mentioned here with the linga. So there are 7 words to mean vak. And artha, for artha, there are multiple meanings. Artha can mean meaning, it can mean wealth, etc. Okay, you can refer to these. It's not so jagat, there are multiple words. Pitarau, there are multiple words, etc. So we will also include the koshas. Is there a recommended site or a book? Yes, Amarakosha is these days very easily available as a searchable version. So in ashtadhyayi.com/kosha. So if you go and search for any word, so the first entry will be the Amarakosha. Okay, so it will give what does the word mean. It will give all the lines and also the separate words. The easiest way to refer to Amarakosha is ashtadhyayi.com/kosha. There are books, many editions of Amarakosha are available. You can also buy, but to search for a word in Amarakosha, it is much easier to use the website. Okay. So I think the last step was Visheshamshaha, where there are special points. As I said, in any shloka, there will be many special points which will be brought out by the Vyakhyana or the commentators. For example, for the shloka Vagarthaviva itself, the commentator Mallinatha mentioned several important things. So one we already saw last week, Parvati Parameshwara. This is not given by Mallinatha. Some other Vyakhyanas mention that you can split this way also. But Mallinatha himself, he gives a quotation from Vayu Purana, which tells that Sharvasya Vallabha, Parvati always represents the entire Shabda, whereas Shiva represents Artha. That is not Kalidasa's own imagination, that is taken from Vayu Purana. He also says, Jagataha Janakau or Jagataha Pitarau. The moment you say Pitarau, parents. Okay, so Parama Karunikatvam. Parents are always very compassionate towards children. Artha Pradana Shaktihi. They have the capacity to fulfill. Most of the times what a child needs, they are able to fulfill. Especially Parvati Parameshwara, the parents of the entire universe. So they have the capacity and the compassion to give what he wants. That is why he says, Jagataha Pitarau Vande. As I look upon them as parents and bow down. It is not the relation between a devotee and a devata. Rather, a child seeking something from the parents. It's much easier to get from parents than from, say, a boss or a Bhagavan. Right? So he also talks about some specialities of Vakara. Right? The first letter of Raghuvamsha is Va. It is a Amrita Bija. In Tantra Shastra, Vakara is a Bijakshara for Amrita. That is that which expands, that which increases. So that is indicated by using an auspicious letter at the beginning. So like this, many special amshas are also conveyed in the Vyakhyana. So that is why when we are studying, right, if we follow all these, with time, we will be able to get a very comprehensive overview of any shloka. So अद्यतनपाठे वयं छन्दसः विषये दृष्टवन्तः. अक्षराणि भवन्ति, तत्र लघु गुरु व्यवस्था भवति. अनुष्टुप् वृत्ते सर्वेषु पादेषु पञ्चमम् अक्षरं लघु भवति, षष्ठं गुरु भवति, द्वितीयपादे चतुर्थपादे सप्तमम् अपि लघु भवति. For 1 and 3 there is no rule. It can be laghu or guru. So there is a rule only for 2nd and 4th pada for the 7th syllable. Evameva alankareshu shabdalankaraha arthalankaraश्च bhavanti. Upama iti ati mukhyaha arthalankarah. Upama nama sadrishyam. Yatra upamalankarah tatra चत्वारि अवयवानि भवन्ति. उपमेयः, उपमानं, साधारणधर्मः, उपमावाचकः शब्दः. All these will not always be explicitly called out. Sometimes it is implied, sometimes explicit, but any upama will have the 4 components. ततः कोशस्य विषये, विशिष्य अमरकोशस्य विषये ज्ञातवन्तः. तत्र समानार्थकाः शब्दाः लिङ्गसहितम् उच्यन्ते. कदाचित् तु एकस्यैव शब्दस्य नाना अर्थाः अपि कोशबलात् ज्ञातुं शक्यन्ते. So this completes the overview of the shlokadhyayana krama in 6 steps. So in this course, we will follow these steps, but not in complete detail. Okay. So we will sort of take a brief look, but we will still be following the krama as we proceed in our adhyayana. In later kavyas, we will go deeper into some of the things. Okay. Atra ayam pathah samapyate. So there is a quiz for today, which you can attempt either now or later. So people keep asking, do we have to attempt right now? That is not compulsory. There are some who wish to, quickly see what they got in the session immediately. But sometimes if you want to revise or go through the lesson again and attempt, that is also fine. It's absolutely your wish. Okay. So the link is available in chat. Now we will take questions. Those who do not have questions, or if you want to leave, you can leave after the Mangalam. Vagarthaviva sampraktau vagartha pratipattaye jagatah pitarau vande parvati parameshwarau. Mandamahe mahodanda dordandau raghunandanau tejo nirjita martanda mandalau lokanandanau.